So each week we kind of start with a general introduction to meditation for those that are new. And then we're going to talk about a specific topic. And today's topic is a special request by my brother, John. I was visiting John this past weekend, and he brought up to me that he heard about this thing called a tea meditation, like drinking tea. And so we're going to do a similar meditation towards the end. We're going to talk about kind of some unique ways to meditate using some things we do during our day. And we're going to do it's not going to be tea. Sorry, because I don't have time. But we're going to use water. So at some point, maybe make sure you have a little bit of water. Doesn't have to be much nearby, right? Within arm's reach. And hey, I don't know, maybe you had a long day, you want to have wine instead of water. It doesn't matter to me. So I will never know. Okay. So if you are new, you feel free to ask questions at any time. That's kind of the benefit of this live format. You can't ask questions to a pre-made video. Well, this is not a pre-made video, so you can ask questions to me. So you can type your questions in the chat at any time. Doesn't even have to be about what I'm currently talking about. And I will stop what I'm doing and I will answer your question. If you are not comfortable doing that, or you think of something after we finish, you can always email me. I'll put my email in the chat later. So feel free to email me any questions you have as you're embarking on your meditation practice. Okay, cool. So let's start by just looking at meditation 101, essentially. So when we think about meditation, very commonly our mind goes to relaxation, zoning out, right? Being super zen with our eyes closed, right? So relaxing is a huge entry point into meditation, and for good reason. Meditation is great at relaxing you. But the way in which that meditation relaxes you might be something that you haven't really been taught before. So meditation is really it's like a learning tool. It's a technique of familiarizing your mind with something you want to familiarize it with. And we can look at some of our life examples to see how important this concept of familiarization is. So let's say I wanted to run a race. My wife's cousin is staying with me for a little while, and he just ran a 100-mile race. You believe that? Now, I am not a runner. So if I was going to do a race, it would not be 100 miles. It would probably be 1 mile. I don't even know if they have 1 mile races. I might have to go a little longer. But I'm not a runner, right? So if I wanted to run a race and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to go out and do it, at first I might be feeling a little pain. I might not be able to run that long. I might not be able to finish, or, I might pull a hamstring or something. I'd be laid up the next day. It's not because I'm a bad runner. It's because my body, mind, everything about me is not familiar with running, because I don't do it that much. Right? So running doesn't come easy to me. Now, if I was determined to run this race and I trained a little bit each day, what would happen? Over time, I'd be able to run further. I'd be able to run with less agony. I'd be able to recover faster. All these things, because my body and my mind are becoming familiar with the mechanics of running, right? The same is true for your mind, for your feelings, emotions, mind states. It's all based in familiarization. So, for example, let's think about anger. I know we're trying to relax here. It'll just be a quick detour. So, think about anger. Pretty easy to get angry. right? You don't have to try. It's not like somebody says something to you, you're like, oh, hold on a second. I gotta try to get angry for a second here. Oh yeah, I'm angry. No, it happens instantaneously, right? Now, what about patience? I don't know about instantaneous patience. That would be awesome. But it takes more effort, right? This is not because we are an angry person or incapable of being patient. It's merely because we've let our mind practice getting angry more than we have let it practice getting patient. Right? So we're good at getting angry. Our mind knows what to do. When we encounter a situation like that, our mind's like, I got it. I know exactly what to do. I'm going to get angry. Almost like we don't really have a say over that. So the benefit of familiarization is that the more familiar you are with something, the easier it comes, for better or for worse, right? Anger is like a negative look at that. But through training, through familiarizing our mind with something, we can gradually have it come easier to us. So in terms of relaxation with meditation, meditation isn't just creating relaxation, it is teaching you to become familiar with your relaxed self. So you have a relaxed self, right? It pops up from time to time. Sometimes you're just in a really good mood. You're really chill, and some problems going on. You're like, oh, all right, I'll do it tomorrow. Not a big deal. That person exists inside of you, right? That's you. It's inside of you. And so meditation is teaching you how to become intimately familiar with that relaxed self. Why? So it becomes easier for you to go there. That's it. That's how meditation works. Cool? Let me catch up. I got some comments here. Welcome back, Keith. You went away. Yes, I did. Thought you told your sister was coming to visit. She did, and then I had to go away. Oh, you can feel my renewed Andrew. Thanks. Thank you. I did have a great time. It's always great seeing my family. Thank you. Janelle, that's great technique. Great technique. I'm glad that's working for you. Liz, need practice staying awake. I never heard the end of your session's relaxation for sure. Well, lucky for you, you could watch the ends later when you wake up. Okay, so meditation equals familiarization. That is your takeaway, right? So how do we use this concept to relax ourselves? We're going to do something called a breathing meditation. You probably have heard of this before. It's pretty common, and it's a great entry point into using meditation as a way to relax. So fancy term for it is single-pointed concentration. Or if you want to sound cool at a party or something, I don't know. You could say that. But all this is single-pointed concentration, breathing meditation. We are choosing to focus on one thing. We are not multitasking. Ruh-roh. We're very familiar with multitasking, right? We multitask all day long. And so our mind defaults to multitasking, which is great for getting worldly tasks done, not great for being relaxed. We can feel pretty frazzled when our mind is all over the place. So with breathing, any form of meditation, but we're going to do breathing meditation, we want to choose to focus exclusively on one thing, our breath. And whenever you notice that your mind has drifted, it's thinking about something that isn't your breath, maybe what do you got cooked for dinner later or something that happened at work, we're going to be like, not right now. And we're going to bring our attention back to breathing. That's it. That cadence is breathing meditation. And at first it might be tough, right? Why? It's not that you're not a good meditator. It's just you don't do this that often. You're not familiar with it, right? Your mind's like, I don't do the whole focus on one thing, so I'm going to just kind of wander. You're like, no. We got to train our mind. We got to kind of take back control of our own thoughts. It's one of the beautiful takeaways of of meditation, we start to feel like we're in control of what we want to focus on, and by virtue of that, what we want to familiarize our mind with. Thank you, Rob. It's good to be back. Okay, so this is kind of similar to if you've ever been in the zone, right, at work, right? What happens when you're in the zone? That cliche phrase, right? You're working on a project, you lose track of time, forget to eat lunch, or maybe you don't. I don't know. I sometimes do. Noises, start to kind of fade into the background. So that's what we're going to do intentionally. When we're super focused, single-pointedly on something, there's no room for other things in our mind. So all the anxiety, the stress, all the worries, distractions, all that, it's going to start to fade a little bit. And what happens? We start to relax. We start to chill. Cool? So we're going to do that now. It's going to be short, about 5 minutes. I don't time it, but I'm pretty good about keeping it in that length. Common misconception about meditation: you do not need to meditate for hours. It's more about repetition than length. So we're going to do a short breathing meditation. Instructionally, very simple. Like I said, we're going to focus on our breath. I'm going to guide, so you can listen to me. I'm going to guide us through it. We're going to focus on our breath. Notice when our attention drifts, bring it back. That's it. Okay? Cool. So sit comfortably. That's a good rule 1. You want to sit comfortably. Why? So we're not distracted by our uncomfort. So if you are comfortable sitting in a chair, cool. If you're comfortable laying down, cool. If you're comfortable sitting on a cushion or on the floor, I don't know, whatever, cool. It doesn't matter. There's no perfect kind of body position that you need to be in. So just make sure you're relatively comfortable, and you can go ahead and close your eyes, and I'm going to guide us through about a 5-minute breathing meditation to get us nice and relaxed for our topic today. Just take a moment right now and check in with yourself. Ask yourself, how am I feeling right now in this very moment? Not how you felt earlier, right now, whatever it is. Just notice it. You don't have to do anything about it. We're just noticing what our mind is up to. This is called mindfulness. Mindfulness is an active awareness of your own thoughts, moment to moment, so you can skillfully respond to them. So just check in, ask yourself how you're feeling right now. Having done that, you can now turn your full attention to your breath, breathing in and out of your nose very gently and naturally. Easy, smooth breathing. You do not need to take big, deep breaths or forcefully exhale the air. Just breathe as you normally would. In, out. And see if you can follow each moment of each breath. Following the air as it enters your nose. Following the air as it exits. Enjoying the calming rhythm of breathing in and out. At some point, you will undoubtedly find your mind wandering a bit. Maybe you start to think about something that happened earlier in the day, or something coming up later after class. Whenever you notice that this has happened, you can just say not right now to those thoughts and gently and intentionally guide your attention back to breathing, back to following each moment of each breath. Breathing in, breathing out. As you begin to relax into your chair or cushion. You can feel the weight of the day melting off us. Keep bringing your attention back to your breath whenever you notice that it has drifted. This process of choosing to focus single-pointedly on your breath, noticing when your attention drifts, and being able to bring your attention back to breathing, that is meditation. You right now are training in meditation. You are a meditator. You are training your mind to be relaxed, to be happy, to be focused, to be calm, to access its natural, peaceful state. And you're doing it with nothing other than your breath. How wonderful. So just continue to breathe in and out gently, naturally for a little while longer. Allow yourself to enjoy sitting here with your breath. Okay. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Return from your Zen state. How'd that go? How are we feeling? If this is your first time, that might have been tough. Because you don't do this that much, right? Anytime we don't do something a lot, when we try to do it, it doesn't come that naturally to us. Think about anything you've ever accomplished, right? Tying your shoe, I don't know, jumping rope, riding a bike, all these things. At first, it's like mind-blowingly difficult. And now you can kind of just do it pretty easily, right? Because you're familiar with it. So the same is true for meditation. The same is true for anything. And meditation is included in anything. So over time, training in something as simple as breathing meditation, right? We're just focusing on our breath and being like, whoop, I'm distracted, bring our attention back. That is going to teach you a lot of things. It's going to teach your mind to obey your commands, which is fantastic. Because right now our mind's all over the place, right? We're along for the ride. Oh, worry about that thing that happened 3 years ago. Fine. Stress out about that project. Okay, right? So we're kind of taking back control of what our mind is thinking about moment to moment. Right? So that's cool. Good benefit. And also, we're becoming intimately familiar with this relaxed self. And the more familiar we are with that relaxed self, the easier it is to have it kind of come up out in the wild. I mean, that's our goal, all right? It's nice to be relaxed for, 5 minutes when we're doing meditation, but really what we want is to transition the things that we've learned here out into the wild, right? That's what we're going to kind of talk about today. Gail, how do you steer your attention to your breath when you are in a highly emotional state? Great question, Gail. So, one thing that I like to recommend for people who are getting started with meditation is try to meditate when you are not in a highly emotional state. Now, meditation can be fantastic for kind of taking you out of that highly emotional state and relaxing you, but when we're just starting, that's really difficult, right? Because we're in crisis mode. So the first step is to practice this when you're relatively okay. Now, sometimes we're not, and we're going to meditate, and we're highly emotional. So, Gail, one thing I would suggest is maybe doing a counting meditation. We talked about this, I think, last class, and that is a variant on breathing meditation, where instead of just kind of focusing on the sensations of breathing, you are counting each breath. And this is very helpful for people who get distracted easily or are really stressed or their mind's super busy, because we're giving our mind a job. All right. So normally we're like, oh, mind, you're going to just focus on breathing. And that might be too nebulous for us if we're in a kind of panicked state. So I'd recommend doing the counting meditation. Try that, see how it goes. Great question. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions on breathing meditation or kind of anything we talked about? Feel free to ask those questions to me. Good reminder to you. Make sure you have a little thing of water. It could be in a glass or a cup. Those are usually the containers that they're in. Make sure you have just a little bit. Doesn't matter. Or any kind of liquid. Doesn't matter. Cool. Okay. I'm glad that helped, Gail. Cool. The counting meditation is really good. Very good for anxiety too, if you're feeling anxious. Okay. So we're going to talk about our topic now, and then we're going to do a meditation on that topic. So the topic today is modern day meditation techniques. What does that mean, right? We live in the modern day, and the modern day is different than the not modern day, right? And modern day life can be categorized most kind of generally by it's really busy. There's a lot going on, between work and parenting and cooking, like all these things, right? Very busy. And then at night, right? Back in the day, no electricity or anything like that. When the sun went down, you went to bed. We don't do that anymore. So now we got TV. We have all these things that are happening. A lot of stimulation happening throughout the day, right? And it fills up our to-do list and our itinerary for each day pretty quickly. There's not a lot of time to add things. And that's one of the biggest hurdles for meditation, because meditation is training in familiarity, and familiarity requires repetition, right? So we have to make something a routine. So traditional breathing meditation is amazing. Partially because it teaches you something really important about yourself, that you do not need specific external conditions to relax. You don't need to go to a mountaintop or to sit by a lake. You just need your breath, right? So it's really wonderful for that. But if you're really busy, just by life tasks, or you find that maybe you're struggling, feeling comfortable doing some breathing meditation, there is a lot of things that you're already doing each and every day that you can start to turn into a meditation. All right? And we're going to talk about those. So this kind of all came to be. This is a topic that we talk about every now and then. I think it's been a couple months. But my brother, who I saw this past weekend, he said, "Oh, I heard about this thing called a tea meditation, like tea drinking." And the concept of it is that you are single-pointedly focused on every aspect of tea making and drinking, right? Listening to the tea brew, listening to the kettle whistle if you're using that, the sound of the water pouring into the glass, right? Visuals, aroma, like all that, super plugged in. And so what that does is it's kind of turning drinking and making tea into a meditation. When we first start learning about meditation, we think it's only reserved for sitting down with our eyes closed, breathing. That is not true. Anything can be a meditation as long as you choose to focus on it single-pointedly. Notice when your attention drifts, bring your attention back. You can meditate on anything. So this is a really great way not only to expand what we understand as, meditation, but also this is great for weaving in meditation into your already busy day. We're not going to add any new tasks. We're just going to turn some of your tasks into a beneficial meditative task instead. Cool? So there's a lot. There's pretty much infinite things you can do. So you can get creative. But I'm going to talk about some that I think are pretty common. And hopefully one of them sounds interesting to you. So the first one is movement-based, right? So meditating on movement. Now, I venture to bet some people here do yoga. Very popular, very wonderful way to relax. What is your directive in yoga? What do they tell? What are you supposed to be doing? You're not supposed to be just doing these moves and thinking about work. I'll tell you that much, right? You're supposed to be focusing single-pointedly on these various movements, how your body feels going in and out of these movements, right? And then when you notice you're getting distracted, like, oh, let me go back to focusing on these movements. What does that sound like? It sounds like what we just did. It's the exact same thing. This is why yoga and meditation are very intimately linked. Yoga is meditation on movement. What we just did was meditation on our breath, right? So if you don't like yoga, or maybe never tried it, or not that flexible like me, I broke my wrist, I can't really do that much anymore. Gail, let your movements follow your breath. That's a great aspect of yoga, right? Linking breathing and your movements, right? It's this kind of single-pointed synergy between movement and breath. Really wonderful. And it's exactly what we just learned. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. So you can use movement in different ways. It doesn't have to be just yoga. So walking meditation, very popular. And there are some really creative ways that you can use walking as your meditative practice. So let's say you drive to work, right? You're parked in the parking lot of work. And you're about, 50 yards from the door. Maybe that's too far. I don't know. However far the door of work is from your car, right? What happens when you get out of your car and walk there? What are you thinking about? We're thinking about all the stuff we got to do when we walk through that door. And it starts to stress us out. So what if, instead of letting your mind wander during that time onto those tasks, what if you made a choice? For the amount of time that I walk from my car to the front door of work, I'm just going to focus on walking. Maybe how my feet feel as they touch the ground, or how my shoulders feel as I walk, my body moving. Just going to focus on that for that very short time. And then if you start to catch yourself worrying about work, be like, no, I'm doing walking, right? Bring your attention back. What's that? It's meditation. It's the same thing, right? Choosing to focus on something, noticing when you're not focusing on it, bringing your attention back. So you can turn You go to work, 5 days a week, maybe more? Well, that's a lot of times of practice meditation, right? So this is how you can start to practice meditation in your already jam-packed day. And sometimes this makes us feel like we can do it. Sometimes we don't have time to add new things, but we do a lot of things and we can just kind of alter them slightly to see some benefit, right? Cool. Also, movement doesn't have to be walking. We can kind of, I don't know, if you're sitting at your desk, you can just kind of lift your arm up and down, kind of, oh, that's cool. I could feel like my shoulder muscles being used while doing this. We lift our arms up and down all day long, but we don't ever think about it, right? We never single pointedly focus on our arms moving up and down. Maybe we're like working out or something. So we can use all sorts of movement, our feet kind of resting on the floor, anything, as a form of meditation. And really all this is learning how to be present, choosing to be present with something, and then bringing your attention back to it whenever your mind tries to wander. Cool? So that's movement. Now, there's a lot of other ones we can do. I can't talk about them all because there's infinite. But we can go over the 5 senses, which kind of illuminate some things we can do with regards to these kind of like modern meditation techniques, right? The 5 senses, you remember those? What's up first? Taste, right? So this is what my brother was talking about with the tea meditation. Was part of it anyway. Drinking, right? Drinking the tea, drinking water. We drink water and beverages a lot, right? Multiple times a day. But normally when we're drinking water or whatever, we're not thinking about drinking water. We're thinking about something else. We're just drinking water, right? Our body is drinking water, but our mind is not drinking water. So we want to kind of align the two. We want our body and mind to be doing the same thing. That's what makes us present, right? So maybe in the morning, let's use the tea example since that's what we were kind of basing this all on, right? So maybe you have tea every morning. That's what my brother does. And he makes tea, and then he sits down and has his tea, right? So normally when you're sitting down having tea, you might be thinking about work, right? Mind wandering, going over the to-do list. What if, even just for a couple sips, 2 sips, you're like, okay, I'm going to focus exclusively on every aspect of drinking this sip of tea. How it smells, the weight of the cup, how it feels as we drink it. We're going to do a drinking meditation together. So make sure you have a little bit of water or something, or tea. I don't know, whatever. So you can turn drinking things into a meditative training, right? Or eating too. When we eat, we don't think about eating. We're thinking about other things, right? So maybe just for a couple bites, we're going to just really focus in exclusively, single-pointedly on how this piece of fruit feels as I chew on it, right? The flavors, right? The texture. There's a lot of cool things. Yeah, mindful eating and drinking. That's the kind of the nomenclature for these things. Mindful eating and drinking. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting aspects about eating and drinking that are kind of cool and fascinating and enjoyable that we just don't notice because we're not focused on it, right? So you might enjoy this piece of fruit a little bit more, or in a different way, or it sparks some interesting thought about it that otherwise would have gone over the head, right? It's another benefit of doing this. Cool. So what was another sense? That was only one. Smell, right? What about smelling a candle? You ever light a candle? You're like, that's good. And then what happens? You go do something else. So what about next time you light a candle? You intentionally say, you know what? For the next minute, I'm just going to close my eyes and I'm just going to focus on the smell of this candle. I'm just going to kind of bask in the aroma, whatever feelings come up about it. I'm just going to sit with them and enjoy it, right? Awesome. That's meditation, right? You might be like, that's just sitting and thinking about a candle, but that's what meditation is. Thinking about something intentionally, right? And then noticing when your mind wanders. So you can meditate on a candle. You can meditate on the smell of anything. Food cooking is a good one. There's a lot of downtime when you're cooking. I don't know if you noticed that, right? That means you're just standing around. What happens? You look at your phone. I don't know. You like pace around. You clean some stuff up, right? What about taking a moment to just kind of take in the smells of the food that you're cooking, right? Is another way of taking some things that you do every day and turning it into a meditative practice. And I'm going over ones that most people do every day for a good reason, because the whole point of this, the whole point of modern meditation techniques is to not add anything new to your day, right? We want to take things that you're already doing and meditate with them. Cool? All right. Ears. There's another sense. Music. All right. When we listen to music, what are we normally doing? Like work or driving, right? We rarely listen to music and that's it. Right? It's kind of one of those weird things, like music has evolved into us. It's almost like background noise for us, which is cool. It's super cool to work with your favorite band playing, and it kind of motivates you to, enjoy working. But what if, maybe for the first chorus or something, you're like, I'm just gonna close my eyes and listen to this song, right? The instrumentation, how someone's voice sounds, right? Pick out one thing that you want to focus on and just focus on that, right? And if you catch yourself kind of drifting, you're just going to bring your attention back, right? So you can turn listening to music into a meditation. And you might be thinking, well, that's cool and all, but like this probably isn't as good as breathing meditation. Incorrect. It is equally as good. There's no better or worse. Meditation is just choosing to focus on something, bringing your attention back. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? As long as you're intentionally choosing to do that. Okay, cool. Also, the sounds outside, maybe on your walk to work, right? Instead of paying attention to movement, you can pay attention to sounds, the sounds of cars passing, the sounds of the leaves rustling in the breeze or something like that, right? We can pay attention to sounds. So we can find moments during our day where we can take advantage of these kind of routine moments, mundane moments, and use it to our advantage to practice meditation. Okay, sight is pretty self-explanatory. I won't stay on this one pretty long. Clouds passing by as you're walking. Maybe you sitting on a bench and you see a bird fly. Follow I'm going to focus on this bird for a little while, right? And just follow the bird, right? You just find some cool things. That example comes from personal experience. I was on a hike. Normally when I'm on a hike, I'm thinking about all sorts of things. It's kind of like my mind thinking time. And then one time I just saw this bird and I'm like, I'm going to focus on this bird. And the whole thing was just really cool. How it floats through the sky. And it's, I thought to myself, well, there's birds all over the place. How many times have I passed by a bird and not paid attention to it? I could be enjoying it as much as I am right now, right? So sight, very good using eyeballs for meditation, right? And it can even be something ridiculous, like looking at your hand. You ever looked at your hand? A lot of weird lines on your hand, right? Yeah, we probably looked at it like, oh, there's lines. What if you really analyzed your hands? All right. Oh, look how they're connected. Oh, that one kind of looks like a V. Right? It sounds stupid, but as long as you are intentionally choosing to focus on that single pointedly, you're training in meditation. You are training your mind to do what you want to do, which is what we're all after, right? We want to be in command of our mind. And the last one we'll talk about before we do our drinking meditation is touch, tactile. And this is a really good one. If you are unsure which of these to kind of try, I would recommend this one. That's just personal preference. So brushing your teeth is a great one. I've used this a lot. Why? Because I don't know about you, but when I brush my teeth, I'm not thinking about brushing my teeth. I'm thinking about literally everything else but brushing my teeth. So what if every time I brush my teeth, which is twice a day, at least, hopefully, you are like, I'm just going to pay attention to how the bristles feel against my gums, against my teeth, right? We can even do sounds here, the sound of the bristles, right? So we're turning something that is a pretty mundane task. I don't know, everyone's getting really excited about brushing their teeth. We're turning something that's like a mundane routine task that we're already doing in our day, and we're turning it into meditation. All right? We're being really creative about how we can practice meditation. Cool? Showering, another good one. Oh man, our mind is all over the place in the shower, isn't it? Mine is. So maybe when you're rinsing out your hair after you shampoo it, you're going to focus on how the water feels as it drips through your hair or something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be the whole shower. It can just be a little portion of it, right? Baby steps, right? Small projects, small victories. Cool. Getting dressed, another good one. How your socks feel as you pull them over your feet, right? Or like something ridiculous again, like, I don't know, touching the keys on your keyboard at work, right? Looks like you're working, but I'm meditating. A good little trick there. 2 for 1. So you can see that there are really countless things. We touched on very few, but you can think about what types of things do you do every day, right? Drinking coffee, brushing your teeth, all these things. And which pick one. Don't be too ambitious. Pick one and see if you can turn it into a meditation, right? And see, maybe you start to enjoy this activity a little bit more, right? It's one of the interesting hidden kind of benefits of single-pointed concentration, of meditation, is you start to find subtle joys about the thing you are single-pointedly focused on. Cool? Cool. I love this topic. It's super practical. I think that if you are new to meditation or you're struggling with, traditional breathing meditation, give this stuff a try. And it's going to start to open your eyes and mind to what qualifies as meditation. And you're going to start to see that you can actually practice this more often than you think without interrupting your schedule. And that's going to show you benefits very quickly, right? The more you do it, the more familiar it becomes to you, the easier it becomes more naturally, right? The easier it is for you to kind of get into that peaceful zone. Any questions on this before we do our drinking meditation? This is a good final reminder to get a little bit of water. We're going to do a mindful drinking meditation. Maybe you're going to find that water's more interesting than you thought. Yeah, to me, water's kind of boring, right? So this is a really good one. I love water because we start to notice some interesting things about it. We think water is very bland. Cool. Okay. So make sure you have your little water cup in arm's reach. And this is a little kind of disclaimer. When it comes time, I'm going to guide us. When it comes time for you to pick up the glass of water and drink the water, you can open your eyes. I don't want you spilling your water all over yourself or your nice furniture or your computer or anything like that, right? So you can open your eyes to do that. Permission granted. Okay, so we'll start with just a very short breathing meditation to settle back in, and then we're going to do our drinking meditation, okay? So you can go ahead and close your eyes and just follow along with what I'm saying. Let's check in very briefly once again. How are you feeling now? Don't compare it to before. Just now, this very moment. Excited, sad, tired, whatever. Whatever it is, just notice. Practicing mindfulness, also practicing being in the present moment, being present with our thoughts. And then you can now turn your attention once again to your breathing in and out of your nose, gentle, natural, smooth, easy breathing. Following each moment of your breath. The air entering and exiting your nose. Single-pointedly focused on each breath. Whenever your mind begins to wander a bit, we can just say, not right now, to those thoughts. Bring your attention back to breathing in and out, gently, naturally, as you begin to relax a little bit. Begin to access that peaceful state. As you start to become really settled in with focusing on your breath, you may notice some sensations about breathing that you hadn't noticed before. Maybe you notice how the air feels cool temperature-wise each time you breathe in. Maybe you start to notice how that air feels warm each time you breathe out. How interesting. You're starting to find subtle joys in something as simple, as basic, as breathing in and out. How wonderful is that? That you are able to find joy in breathing. If you can find joy in breathing, what's stopping you from finding joy in everything else? So, with our mind hopefully feeling a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more calm, even just slightly, we can now kind of use this clear, calm mind to engage in a really fun and special meditation. Mindful drinking. So just follow along with what I'm saying. I'd like you to pick up the glass of water or cup, whatever container it's in. Just pick it up. That's it. How does this glass of water, this liquid, feel in your hand? Is the container smooth, or rough? Can you sense the temperature of the water just by holding it? Is it heavy? Is it light? Now I'd like you to bring that glass of water up to your nose and just smell the water. What does this water smell like to you? Can you sense the coolness or warmness of the water just by using your nose? Maybe some aromas of the material of the container used to hold the liquid. So many subtle, interesting smells coming from this simple glass of water. Now I'd like you to take a sip of water, but do not swallow it. Just let the water sit in your mouth. What does the water feel like as it sits in your mouth? Can you sense its effortless movement between your teeth, flowing back and forth? Can you sense some temperature changes? Maybe the water was cool and now getting warmer. Or maybe it was warm and now getting cooler. How interesting. You can swallow that sip of water now. And finally, I'd like you to take another sip of water. And as you swallow it, I want you to be 100% focused on how that water feels as it moves from your mouth, down your throat, into your stomach. Can you sense the temperature of the water changing as it flows through your body? Can you feel your throat contracting to move the water along? So many interesting aspects of this simple activity, drinking a sip of water. You do it each and every day. Look how enjoyable it can be, simply by focusing on it. And just for the next minute, take another sip and just enjoy drinking water. Okay, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes, put down the glass of water. How was that? So that's and look, this is just one of many different kind of activities that we do every day that we can kind of change the way that we interact with it. But I like this one a lot because I drink water all the time, but I never think about it. Right. And, when I started doing this, one thing that always stuck out to me was the temperature changes. I thought it was so cool. Like the water's cold and then it's in my mouth and now it's warm and then it's going down my throat and it's warm. Like very subtle things about drinking water that if we're not paying attention to them, we don't notice them, but they're there. It's kind of a pillar of meditation, right? There's enjoyable things all over the place, all day long, right? If we choose to focus on them, right? Something as simple as drinking water can be really, really therapeutic, meditative, relaxing, and enjoyable, right? So your homework, if you choose to accept it, is to pick one of these things we talked about or something that you think about on your own, an activity that you do normally, every day, routine. See if you can focus on it exclusively. See if it changes how you enjoy that activity or maybe even just an interesting thing that you hadn't thought about. All right? Cool. Glad you enjoyed it, Gail and Janelle. Thank you. I know you guys have done this one before, so I appreciate you sitting through it. If you had a good time tonight, first of all, awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Come back. I usually do this every week. The month of October has been a little crazy for me. So next week I have an event I need to go to on Wednesday. So I will not be doing a meditation session, but the week after I will. So I will once again, unfortunately, be skipping a week, but normally I do it every week. So come back. We talk about a different topic each week. I never really plan that far ahead about what I'm going to talk about. I'll see what inspires me. Or if you have an idea for something that you would like me to talk about with regards to meditation, maybe anxiety or something like that, you can just email me. And I love taking suggestions. So I'm going to put my email in the chat now, keith@meditationbreaks.com. You can email me if you have any ideas of things you want to hear. You can also email me if you'd like to do a one-on-one class. That's mainly how I kind of operate my meditation business. I love one-on-one classes. They're amazing for focusing on something that is really pertinent to your life. So maybe I got into meditation for anxiety. Maybe you did too. And we could talk about that. It's over Zoom. It's very low key. I'm very laid back. It's fun. Janelle, thank you. I do one-on-ones with Janelle. It's just a really cool experience. So if that's interesting to you, you can just email me and we'll find a time that's appropriate. And finally, if you wouldn't mind subbing to the YouTube channel, that'd be awesome. If you haven't already, really helpful for me. Let's Google know that people are interested in this. Oh, so that'd be a really cool thing for me. And also you get notifications of when I'm going live with a meditation. So in case you get busy and forget, you will now remember. So thank you for being here. I love teaching meditation. I couldn't do this without you guys, honestly, but if you didn't take time out of your day to be here, right, I wouldn't be getting such joy out of this. So it's kind of, we're benefiting each other. So thank you very much for taking time out of your busy day to be here. Hopefully you found it to be relaxing and enjoyable or thought-provoking or one of those things. And go turn your activities into a meditative practice, right? This is the modern day meditator way. All right. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Take care.